All right, so we are officially recording. Welcome to That's Some Cheese, part of the Vendetta Sports Podcast Network. Today is Wednesday, May 6th, recording this in the afternoon. And we have my good pal, Alex Chick, on the line, and we're going to talk about his homeboy, Las Vegas Raider team. He got a little mad at me for the draft grade I gave the Raiders. So we're going to talk about it. Alex, what's going on?
I don't know. Hey, look, okay, first of all, it kind of made me mad. A D is failing. I would know because I just failed a class, okay? A D is failing. I don't know. They did not fail this draft. They didn't fail this draft. They addressed the needs. It was very interesting. They picked players that not everyone thought they were going to pick, which back to last year, they did the same thing. They picked players that no one else was going to think they were going to pick. So, I wouldn't give them a D. They kind of surprised everyone with the picks that they did, but I don't feel like they were necessarily bad picks. I didn't say they were the best. Myself, I rated it as about a C+ for me, with a chance to be better. But right after, I give it a C+. They address needs, I give it a C+.
All right, let's start with Henry Ruggs here, because this is the decision that's going to really come back to, Gruden's going to look really smart, or he's going to look really dumb.
Right.
Because he took Ruggs over Jerry Jeudy, over CeeDee Lamb, and I think it would have been one thing if they drafted Ruggs but traded down. And Ruggs was the third guy off the board. But Ruggs is the first guy off the board. And I'm not positive that – I'm not saying he's going to be a bust. But isn't there like a 20% chance he's Ted Ginn? That's not cutting it.
Yeah.
We've seen a lot of these fast guys fail before, and I'm not saying Ruggs will because I think he's got a shot. But I don't think this is a sure thing here.
I think with Ruggs, even though he was probably he wasn't better than Jeudy and what's his other name? Help me out.
CeeDee Lamb.
CeeDee Lamb, thank you. He wasn't better than them, but I guess for the Raiders it was a scheme fit. They had don't misinterpret me the wrong way, because I know Hunter Renfrow and Tyrell Williams are not oh my God. I mean, I wouldn't even I would put them a level below solid, but the Raiders were missing a deep zone threat. They had none. I mean, they're not going to throw to a small white guy, possession wide receiver, Hunter Renfrow. Tyrell Williams was dealing with plantar fish, whatever. He had fucking foot problems the whole time. I don't know what his issue was, but he wasn't going to be able to run and outrun any cornerbacks. So it just wasn't going to happen. I mean, they had no deep zone threat. Yes, CeeDee Lamb and Jerry Jeudy are better, but I don't think they can get down the field as fast as Henry Ruggs. And I think for them, it was just Henry Ruggs had the speed. He could still catch. He's still one of the better wide receivers in this draft. I don't know. It didn't make sense when it first happened. I started thinking, I had to take a shower and I had to start thinking about it. I'm like, all right, why did they choose him over them? And it's just, he's got the speed. He could still catch. And for the Raiders, they needed a deep zone threat, and he was the best one for that fit.
There are two things I worry about here. Number one would be Ruggs was not the number one wide receiver at Alabama. He's going to be the number one wide receiver in Oakland or Vegas, whatever. Mm-hmm. He got a lot of opportunities because teams were focused on Jerry Jeudy, and when you're one-on-one with that guy, yeah, he's going to get a lot of deep shots, and it's going to work. Can he win those double coverage where there's a safety over the top constantly? The thing I worry about is the Raiders don't have a number one wide receiver. He has to be the number one wide receiver. Is that concerning?
Not necessarily, because like I said, and it might just because I'm a homer. I'm a big Raiders fan, and I try to be realistic, but I love my Raiders. But I think even though Alabama has probably the best college football talent there is, considering I like what the Raiders are doing here. They got Hunter Renfrow, who's a good possession wide receiver. Tyrell Williams, hopefully he's healthy and he's supposed to be, as good as he was supposed to be last year. They still got Darren Waller, and John Gruden's offense, he loves tight ends. I mean, we saw that with Jared Cook, and now we got Darren Waller. Waller had a breakout season last year. You even called that breakout season for Darren Waller.
Jason Witten.
Jason, well, let's see if he can
Just
still
had to
move his
twist it a little
bones.
bit.
Yeah, let's see if he can move his bones. But I mean, but Darren Waller's really good receiving option. I'm a big fan of Josh Jacobs. That's going to really help the run game. And then they got these other guys. They got the Swiss Army knife and Bowden or Bowden. I still don't know how to say his name. And then they got that big wide receiver in the draft. Also, his name's Edwards. He's a big physical body. So I mean, I feel like there's enough diversity in the Raiders' offense that even though Henry Ruggs is probably going to be the number one wide receiver in Vegas, that maybe he won't be double covered since he's a rookie. And since, there's still a lot of other things to worry about the Raiders offense, which is very surprising to say that, but I'm really excited for this offense, to be honest.
Let's move to Damon Arnett because this one was one of the shockers to me in the first round.
I was shocked. I was drunk, but I was shocked when I heard this. Oh my God.
I don't think Damon Arnett's terrible. He played at Ohio State. He did a really good job at Ohio State, and he was getting picked on constantly because they have Jeff Okudah, and he saw a lot of targets, and he did a really good job. But at 19, that can't be your Khalil Mack pick. That's the biggest problem I have with it, is that why wouldn't he be there in the second round? Because I think they panicked a little bit because I think they wanted A.J. Terrell, and they're like, shit, we got to get one now. I don't think you can do that. I don't think that's smart. And especially because that's the Khalil Mack pick. And he didn't have a second-round pick. Trade down to get more picks because he didn't have a second-round pick. And he gave away a dumb pick for Zay Jones. And he gave away another one for Trevor Davis.
Yeah. And I'll be honest, I never liked when comparing trades we use the draft pick. Oh, this is the last pick of the Khalil Mack trade. This is your pick. I've never liked that. But I will say they might have reached on him because I believe Arnett had, behavioral problems and everything. But I don't know. I think he's just a dog, man. I think he's one of those go-getters. I do feel like they could have got better. I don't know. I don't know the cornerbacks all that well. I can say after watching at least a little bit of film on him, I do like his style. I do like that he's a dog. He does come from Ohio State. That gives me hope. I don't know. I have to see how he does because being a corner in the NFL is a lot different than being in college. And so you may pan out, you may not. But Arnett was definitely the surprise for me. I'm just hoping that he was just a sleeper. And you know what? They weren't. And they got him when they got him. And I hope it's the best pick they got for him. But I just it was a little concerning. It was.
I want to bring this up, too. You just mentioned this. I believe Gruden or Mayock said this, that the reason why they picked Clelin Ferrell is because they wanted high-character guys and that they took all these Clemson guys because they wanted big-time personalities and that they were going to get good role models and good teammates. And then, we take a guy who has maybe character issues. Yeah. I just don't see a plan here. What is their plan? They're just making shit up to me.
Well, it didn't. When I heard about the behavior issues, I actually thought about that too. And I was like, that doesn't. It's not. They got Richie Incognito, and he's got his issues.
Antonio Brown, great.
Antonio
yes, he fits
Brown,
right in.
Right. So I'm trying to. I think they want really good character guys, unless their talent is like off the board to them. I don't know, because Farrell I can understand, not the best talent, really high character guy. Right, obviously didn't show up on the stat sheet last year, and then Arnett, character issues, but people were saying he's really talented. There just might be some concerns there, and so obviously with Richie Incognito, Antonio Brown's one of the best wide receivers ever, and went fucking crazy. So it's like I don't know. I'm not sure what the thought process. I'm hoping Arnett turns out to be really good, and you know what? If he shit talks all the wide receivers and he could still do his job, I'm fine with it. You know what? Bring it on.
Next thing I had, Mike Mayock's a puppet. I don't know if you agree with me here, but this is Gruden draft all over. Like, to take Ruggs at, 12, whatever it was, and then he goes wide receiver, or whatever Lynn Bowden's going to be, and it just doesn't feel like Mayock has any juice here. This is a Gruden draft all the way. There's no way you can convince me that 3 of the first 4 picks are wide receivers if Mayock has anything to do with it.
It can. I can see where it comes off that way, but I really did have issues with the Raiders offense and the lack of talent they had. They had Josh Jacobs. I love Josh Jacobs. They had Darren Waller. Love Darren Waller. But you know, you
Good
got
offensive line.
a good offensive line, but you got Tyrell Williams and Hunter Renfrow, and then your third wide receiver is Rico Gafford, and then they traded for Zay Jones. I mean, so this doesn't scream like, wow, receiving talent is off the charts. It just doesn't. And you know, I feel like there was a lot of limited offense in the Raiders because of the lack of talent. I think they could do anything they want with Waller. I think they could do anything that they want with Josh Jacobs, Tyrell Williams, and Hunter Renfrow is when you're lacking like at least a deep zone threat or any other play when your third wide receiver is not there. I do feel like they addressed fully the wide receiver need, obviously in this draft, but I don't know. It's hard to tell. I mean, taking 3 wide receivers, let's just call it 3, in your first 4 picks in the draft is definitely saying, hey, we had a wide receiver problem. I do feel like there was not really – they didn't try to address anything else because they got the linebackers and free agency. They addressed the defensive line a little bit. Their safeties are okay. They got LaMarcus Jr. I'm hoping Jonathan Abrams pans out. Trayvon Mullen was a stud last year. So I feel like corners and wide receivers were their biggest need, but I feel like maybe they could have drafted a little bit better here and there, taken some better players at better positions with talent. I don't know. It's hard, but I feel like they did address the wide receiver need fully and to where Derek Carr nor John Gruden has any mistakes for a stagnant offense anymore. I mean, the second half of Oakland Raiders games, they were just stagnant. We would score like 3 points or just 1 touchdown, and we would score like maybe 2 touchdowns, 3 touchdowns in the first half, and the second half would just like it would stall. The offense would stall. I don't know what would happen.
So we have Alex Chick here. We're talking to his hometown Raiders team. If you're watching the video version, make sure to check out the audio version. If you're used to the audio version, we are now uploading video versions on YouTube, so make sure to watch that. You can see Alex, his cat ear headphones. They're just that's a nice looking gamer chair too. It's got to be, right?
Yeah, it is. So for future reference, we're actually looking to move out of our apartment, but yeah, just for now, we're using this one.
We got to get Alex a little riled up here. So I'm going to bring up the Hunter Renfrow article I wrote. And it was just basically saying, hey, you know, maybe they're losing some faith in Hunter Renfrow. Maybe they don't believe in him. What are your thoughts?
I mean, wait. Okay. I knew you just said you were going to try to bait me. Okay. Hunter Renfrow was a 5th-round pick last year. Okay. First of all, apparently that was a steal for when we got him. Okay. He did better than Tyrell Williams. As a small white guy possession receiver. I mean, so I don't even know what the expectations for Hunter Renfrow was going into the last season, but I feel like he, you know, exceeded the expectations for last year. And then you draft all these wide receivers. Yes, he may not get as many touches, but I don't think they don't believe in him. I think he's already exceeded their expectations. And so, I mean, he might just be that possession wide receiver. I'm not saying he's going to be Wes Welker or Julian Edelman, but he might fit that kind of role on the team where he's just a possession wide receiver. He gets his catches here and there. Really good good. He has great hands. I think he needs help. They need help. I don't see how they lost faith in him. I didn't understand.
Let's go to speaking of Clemson. The Tanner Muse pick was a joke. What was with that? You're taking a special guy in the 3rd round. What are we doing here with that?
That's just the Clemson pipeline, man. That's just the pipeline we got with Clemson. I don't know. I'm not really sure. He's already said he's going to be a special teams guy. He's called himself, and this is self-proclaimed, the war daddy of special teams, and I fucking love it. But you're right. You don't take a special teams guy in the 3rd round. You don't. But you know what? Whatever. Maybe they're trying to get him ready for the starting defense, so they got him. They love his athleticism. But other than that, it was kind of like you probably could have got him a little bit later. But
how many wins for the Raiders this year?
10. Sticking with it. 10. 10.
Come on.
10.
Come on. You're not serious.
I said 8-8 last year. The Raiders went 7-9. I could say 10-6 this year, and I think they'll hit around 9-7, 10-6. On God,
They're
not
not
even
better
joking.
than Denver, though.
No, I think Denver. I think they might be tied with Denver, or Denver might be better than us. But I think we're right there. Honestly, I mean Denver. I think Denver's a really good team this year, but I think we're right next to them. It's going to be. I think AFC West is going to be one of the most competitive divisions. Honestly,
I
then the
don't
same.
I don't normally pay attention to the schedule, but I think it's going to be interesting this year. How short is the leash on Derek Carr? Not saying for you. How short is it for them? Because I honestly do think Mariota is going to get at least one start.
I don't. I'm not sure. I really don't, because it's hard. I'm trying to see where they've always back. I mean, and of course, GMs and head coaches are not going to publicly criticize their quarterback unless they're Bill O'Brien. And then so they're not going to go out. But I mean, if they really weren't that confident, I know they got Marcus Mariota, but if they weren't confident in Derek Carr, I feel like they would have drafted a quarterback when there was plenty of quarterback talent on. They had Jacob Eason on the board still, and I was a big fan of him. So I feel like they could have got him in any of those middle rounds. So right now, everything's pointing to Derek Carr still has a full leash. I think this is the last year he has a full leash. Like I said, they addressed the wide receiver need. Got Josh Jacobs in the background. They got Waller at tight end. There's really no more excuses for Derek Carr. Derek Carr needs to perform. If he doesn't, last year he's going to be competing with whoever. Whether I think Marcus Mariota is for 2 years, so either that or he'll be competing with Marcus Mariota next year. But it's going to be interesting. I think Derek Carr's safe this year, but this is the last year he's safe.
So how much of a gasket will you blow when Mariota takes the field? How pissed are you going to be?
It depends on the context. It really does. If Derek Carr plays well, and like I haven't been confident in the Raiders defense in a while, but if the defense starts blowing games and it comes at the expense of Derek Carr, if Derek Carr's putting up 300-yard games, no interceptions, and 2 touchdowns a game, and they bench him, I'm going to be a little bit pissed because we're losing games because I know that's defense. But if he's playing bad, I mean, and Mariota takes over, Mariota starts winning, I'm a bigger Raider fan than I am Derek Carr fan. As long as we're winning. If we get 10-6, I'm telling you, Trey, I'm going to be happy with whoever's at quarterback.
You mentioned the defense. Their defense still needs a lot of work. I know they got Corey Littleton and Nick Kwiatkowski. I think that's how you say it.
I don't know how to say his name. I don't try.
Kwiatkowski, whatever. He can play, but, I mean, come on. This defense is not nearly good enough.
No, but that's why I also think they went heavy on wide receiver is because at any point in time, Trey, would you have expected the Raiders to stop the Kansas City Chiefs defense?
Well, right now they just look like a less talented version of the Chiefs, a way less talented version.
But that's the idea. There's Kansas City's offense was gonna blow by Oakland's defense no matter what they did this offseason. So I think the idea here was, okay, we're just gonna have to get in a shootout with them. We're just gonna have to try to beat them by doing that. Kansas City still has a more talented offense. That's obviously true. I'm not going to even debate that. So I think it's just, we have to try to at least keep up with them score-wise. We're not going to be able to stop them defensively. So I think that's what the mindset was going in there. But, their defense does need a lot of work. I feel like they did start addressing needs. They did get they still have Trayvon Mullen. They got 2 cornerbacks in the draft. LaMarcus Joyner. They had got some linebackers. They addressed some needs on the defensive line. I'm hoping Max Crosby takes another step in his career. Same with Farrell. I hope he starts showing up in the stat sheet. They got Nassib and Malik Collins, and then they got the Cowboys defensive coach, I believe, for the defensive line. So I'm hoping it's all going to be a little bit helpful there. But no, they're not where they need to be, obviously.
The problem I have is Denver's way better defensively. Von Miller, Bradley Chubb, Justin Simmons. They traded for A.J. Bouye. Jarrell Casey's coming in. Denver's way better defensively. They're actually, I think, the best defensive team in the division. That's the problem I have with it. Oakland can't keep pace with them defensively.
No, and that's true. They can't. And then man, it's hard. It's hard to love other teams, what other teams are doing offensively and defensively. But I do. I love what the Chiefs do offensively. They got Patrick Mahomes and all the fucking speedsters, the Legion of Zoom. They got that Clyde guy who's another Brian Westbrook. And so he's going to be really good for the Chiefs. And then in Denver, you got Drew Lock. I think Drew Lock's a really good quarterback who was only thrown to Sutton last year, Cortland Sutton, and they were still, in games a lot. And then they added Jerry Jeudy, I believe.
And KJ Hamler.
And KJ Hamler. So, and they got that going on. They got Melvin Gordon, which I'm not Melvin Gordon I feel like is a little bit overrated, but Philip Lindsay is still a really good running back. So, I mean, they're going to be clicking. I'm telling you, that division is going to be competitive, but I don't want people to be sold out on my Raiders. I think they have a chance. It might be a small chance, but I think they have a chance, honestly.
What else do you have on the Raiders? Because one of the plans that I guess I have is we're going to do a daily fantasy show, hopefully when sports comes back. So maybe we can do a little preview of some guys that you like, unless you have other Raiders topics you want to dive into.
No, let's go ahead and do a little preview of fantasy. There's a couple of fantasy guys that I really like.
Give me some sleepers you got.
Austin Eckler. I am big on Austin Eckler, man. I think, you know what, his numbers started to dip when Melvin Gordon came back, but before that, I had Austin Eckler, and I drafted him last year because I was like, Melvin Gordon's not going to be back for a couple weeks. He might miss the whole season. I might get a steal here. And I did for 6 weeks. And then they started, they got that fucking tandem thing. I hate that thing for fantasy. I hate that. But Austin Eckler was the second best fantasy running back till that point. So this year, and plus they got Tyrod Taylor, and then they got Justin Herbert at quarterback. I don't give a fuck who starts. But Eckler's going to be he's going to be the main guy. I'd love Austin Eckler this year. Who's another? I think Drew Lock's going to be really good. I don't know. I hate saying this, but I think Derek Carr might be okay in fantasy. I don't know.
That's such a homer pick.
It is, and that's why. But I'm really excited about this receiving core, but I don't know if he's going to be actually perform. I'm going to say hold off on Derek Carr. Hold off. Because I don't think anyone else is going to think so. If you can get him late round, you might get a steal there. But there's a lot of good picks. I like Devontae Parker from Miami. He's really the number one wide receiver there. And then they got Tua there. They don't have Ryan Fitzpatrick throwing to him, so I think he's in for a good year this year. I'm trying to think of some NFC ones. Let me get some NFC in here. I don't know. I gotta think. I love Derrick Henry. I know he's not NFC, but I love Derrick Henry this year. I think Derrick Henry's going to have another big year. But A.J. Brown. I like A.J. Brown from Tennessee, too. He's the only wide receiver there. They didn't really address that need. He's the only wide receiver there.
All right, Alex. This was fun. We will make sure to definitely start the fantasy show when things get back to normal here. I know you're desperately missing basketball, so
I know.
Thoughts and prayers are with you.
Yeah. Bro, I'm ready. I'm ready. Give me my drugs, man.
All right, that's gonna do it for That's Some Cheese. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for listening, and we will see you next time. Oh shit. Hang on.